We all choked down some stuff you wouldn't believe. And we sent them to Senator Schumer, my friend. He refused to bring the bills to the floor of the Senate. Now, that's when he was in the majority. You really think he's going to allow us to vote on a budget when the politics have changed and his politics? If you do, you're Willie Nelson high. You're smoking some of the best dope God ever put breath in. What appropriations process? All we've got left are CRs and rescission packages. And President Trump's not the first president to ever send a rescission package, is he?
No, sir.
A bunch of presidents have, haven't they? And did civilization melt?
They did not.
No, they didn't.
Let's talk about what just happened in the Senate, because it wasn't business as usual. It wasn't polite, it wasn't scripted, and it definitely wasn't sanitized for your mainstream media feed. No, what we just witnessed was one of the most brutal, unapologetic truth bombs ever dropped in a congressional hearing, and it came straight from the mouth of Louisiana Senator John Kennedy, a man who doesn't care about playing nice, doesn't worry about offending the elites, and clearly has had enough of Washington's budget circus. In what may go down as one of the most explosive Senate takedowns in recent memory, Kennedy didn't just throw shade, he brought the whole thunderstorm. And the target? Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer, the man at the helm of what Kennedy calls the complete collapse of the appropriations process. And honestly, he's not wrong. Before we dive into the full story, comment where you're watching from, and don't forget to like and subscribe so you don't miss the next one, because if you think this is just another budget discussion, buckle up. Kennedy's about to take us to school.
Mr. Director, I want to apologize for the protesters, but I can assure you that under congressional rules and the laws in the District of Columbia, they will be promptly punished and put on double secret probation. You'll probably see them back again today. I think the president's demonstrated that he understands that what you allow is what will continue. We seem to have a problem with that concept. I listened to some of my colleagues accuse you of doing everything but abandoning your children to wolves. They accuse you of undermining the sanctity and integrity of the appropriations process. And I'm sitting here thinking, what sanctity? What integrity? What appropriations process? I'm proud to serve on this committee. I watched this committee last year. We passed 11 out of 12 minibuses. Sent them to, and we all choked down some stuff you wouldn't believe. And we sent them to Senator Schumer, my friend. He refused to bring the bills to the floor of the Senate. Now, that's when he was in the majority. You really think he's going to allow us to vote on a budget when the politics have changed and his politics? If you do, you're Willie Nelson high. You're smoking some of the best dope God ever put breath in. What appropriations process? All we've got left are CRs and rescission packages. And President Trump's not the first president to ever send a rescission package, is he?
No, sir.
A bunch of presidents have, haven't they? And did civilization melt?
They did not.
No, they didn't. Now, you want to know how we got $36 trillion in debt? Just listen to this. Let me tell you what it's like. A majority, and not everybody, a majority of this body, they're all for cutting spending porn. They're all for going to heaven, but they're not ready to make the trip. That's how we got to $36 trillion. This stuff about PEPFAR, oh my God, you're going to destroy the world. Now, there's a part of PEPFAR that deals with money for life-saving care, isn't it?
Absolutely.
And there's a part of PEPFAR that you look at it and you want to say, pass me the sick bucket, isn't there?
Yes, sir.
And you're getting rid of the sick bucket stuff.
Yes, sir.
You're getting rid of $5.5 million to lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, and intersex advocacy in Uganda. Aren't you?
Yes, sir.
I can't believe we're arguing about this. I can't believe we're arguing about this. PEPFAR, we're not denying life-saving care to anybody, are we?
No. And $10 billion would remain for that funding.
And a couple of my colleagues have made the point, well, this was President Biden. President Biden ate my homework. And these programs have already expired. Some of these are multi-year programs, aren't there?
Yes. Multi-year grants.
Let's make one thing clear right out of the gate. Senator John Kennedy didn't just attend that Senate hearing. He didn't just check the box, read a statement, and pose for a few photo ops. No. Kennedy walked in like a man on a mission, not for headlines, not for partisan clout, but for you, the American people. In a Capitol drowning in doublespeak and delay tactics, Kennedy showed up like a lighthouse in a political hurricane, casting light on the corruption, the dysfunction, and the deliberate blindness of a system gone completely off the rails. While the rest of the chamber whispered, twisted, and dodged the real issues, Kennedy, he stepped up to the microphone and burned through the fog with brutal clarity. No rehearsed talking points, no polished PR spin, just raw, uncomfortable truth. And who was the bullseye of that truth-telling barrage? Chuck Schumer, the architect of delay, the gatekeeper of gridlock, the man whose job is to move the Senate forward, but who instead buries bills in a procedural graveyard for political convenience. Kennedy didn't just criticize Schumer, he dismantled the entire performance art of Senate leadership, exposing the hollow routine of a chamber that talks about fiscal responsibility while running up a debt clock so fast it could break the sound barrier. Here's what makes Kennedy different. Most lawmakers chase headlines. They want the quote, the clip, the viral moment. But Kennedy? He chased the facts, and when he found them, he didn't just toss them into the wind. He built a case brick by brick. He called out the hypocrisy, loudly, forcefully, without apology. A government that claims it can't afford to secure the border, can't afford to balance a budget, can't afford to fix roads or fund veteran care, but somehow can afford to funnel public dollars into ideological pet projects in foreign countries. Kennedy wasn't having it, and frankly, neither should we. He asked the question no one else had the courage to ask. Why are we giving money to institutions that push politics instead of public service, while our nation is $36 trillion in debt? And that, right there, that's the sentence that cut through all the noise. Because that's not a partisan attack. That's not obstructionism. That's what the rest of us call basic common sense. Now here's the part the media won't tell you. Kennedy wasn't performing for cameras. He was channeling the outrage of millions of everyday Americans. People who are watching their paychecks shrink, their bills pile up, and their leaders play games with numbers that affect real lives. People who are fed up with being told that their concerns are too political, while their government plays partisan roulette with their future. Kennedy's power doesn't come from being loud. It comes from being real, from speaking in plain language, from refusing to dance around the hard truths. And in a room full of polished performers, that kind of raw honesty is more revolutionary than ever. He reminded every lawmaker and every viewer of something Washington seems to have forgotten. That serving in public office isn't about scoring points. It's about serving the people. Kennedy wasn't grandstanding. He wasn't grinding the gears of government to a halt. He was calling out a system that's already stalled, already broken, already bleeding billions in the name of business as usual. He didn't just show up to a hearing. He showed up to fight. For clarity, for accountability, for fiscal reality. So the next time you hear a pundit call Kennedy controversial or a politician label him disruptive, remember what that actually means. He's disrupting their scam. He's controversial because he tells the truth. And in Washington, D.C., that's apparently the biggest crime of all. The establishment doesn't want this clip to trend. They don't want Kennedy's words echoing through living rooms across the country. They'd rather drown it out with empty promises and partisan spin, so it's up to us. If you believe that honesty in politics still matters, if you believe that America deserves more than sound bites and spin, if you believe that plain talk, real leadership, and fearless truth are still worth something, then now is the time to act. Hit that like button. Drop a comment. Tell us where you're watching from. Subscribe and turn on notifications. And most importantly, share this video with someone who needs to hear it. Because what we just witnessed wasn't noise, it was clarity. It wasn't chaos, it was courage. And it wasn't just another Senate speech. It was a call to action. This is Truth Pill, and we'll be back with more stories they hope you'll never hear. Until then, stay sharp, stay free, and never stop fighting for the country you love. America deserves better, and we won't stop until it gets it.